Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast.
This pig came bottling.
Just ended up puking last night. It sucked.
Whoa! Ah! We gut it, we wrap it in tinfoil, throw it over the fire.
All right, everyone. It's Cody Johnson here with the Thin Blue Line Outdoors. This is episode 82 of our podcast. Super excited to have Gerald from RackGetter Scents N Lures. He was the first one to kind of take a chance on us. Ryan actually found you guys on Instagram.
Right.
Yep, the old red coat. And yeah, we've been using your product ever since. Been loving it. We use all the deer stuff, and then I've been using the bear the last 2 years now.
Yeah.
But we'll get in that here in a little bit. But if you would introduce yourself to people who might not know you, and go from there, and we'll deep dive into this podcast.
Shelly, I'm the owner of RackGetter Scents. We've been in business now for 10 years. That 10th season is coming up, and it's been nothing but really a blessing and a great way to give back and to be a part of the whole hunting scene out here in New Jersey and even in Pennsylvania and New York. I have a lot of stores in both of those states also, so I've got a chance to meet some really good people, and it's been nothing but fantastic.
That's awesome. I know. So when we first spoke, So like I said, if you guys know Ryan, the red coat, if you guys have listened to this podcast or watched our stuff before, Ryan spoke out to you, and then we talked on the phone. And one thing that I thought connected on right away was our first responder experience. Obviously I got the police background, you got the fire background, but if you kind of want to deep dive in a little bit into your first responder background and go from there.
Well, my whole story is kind of unique because I come from the biggest city in New Jersey. I'm a real inner city kid, and I grew up that way. And, I always had a grandfather who hunted and fished. And he did, my father not being around, my father was more like my grandfather. So he treated us that way, and he took me out, and he did everything with us, from small game hunting to deer hunting and fishing, on whether it be trout fishing or fishing down the Jersey Shore on the ocean. And that's how I grew up. So, being an inner city kid, that was my escape. It saved me a lot of times where I was out hunting and fishing when my friends were getting in trouble. So it was, definitely a savior of me in a lot of ways. And, getting into high school and getting out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps. I spent my time in the Marine Corps. And when I came out, I kind of fell back into the whole neighborhood of what was going on in the neighborhood type deal. And like I said, I was lucky enough to have a neighbor that came over and said, "Look, guys, what are you doing?" Because I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends, and why don't you take this fire test? It's available, and you guys kind of fit the bill, and you have a Marine Corps background, and would help you out, and you guys can get off the streets. And basically that's what I did. And I took it in 1991, and I got hired in 1993 as a full paid fireman in the biggest city in New Jersey. And I did 25 years there. I retired in 2018, and I've been retired 6 years now. And the last 6 years I've been able to put everything into RackGetter Scents and kind of expand it there and expand stores and just have more time to be able to make stuff and get into different stuff and get more innovative with products, because that's kind of what I'm known for. Every year I kind of do something different. I add something to my line. And this year I've done a bunch of new things that are coming out. You guys can check the Instagram page and the TikTok page and all the other pages for that information. There's some really cool stuff coming. And now I'm getting into trapping stuff. So that's where the business is heading, towards the trapping end of it at this point.
Yeah, which I thought that was really cool. Since just the short time we've been working together, I've seen you come out with these new products and kind of, like I feel like when I first started, we started working together, you had the deer stuff, obviously, you had the bear stuff, which I know the bear, because of New Jersey's laws there for a while, was kind of taking a back seat. But that's got past that, right? That got changed.
Yeah, I mean that finally got passed, and thank God that happened. I mean, when they took that away, it took 20% of my business away.
Yeah,
hurt my business. I was able to sell, obviously, to states outside of New Jersey, but at the same time, New Jersey is my bread and butter for everything, really. I mean,
correct,
but my online sales still were good in the Bear area, but nothing like it was when you had the Jersey guys obviously buying it in the stores and stuff like that. So my recent expansion in a large capacity of stores in Pennsylvania, it's my bear stuff, a lot of it is water-based. So the water-based stuff with no health benefits to animals, I'm able to put it in those stores. So I was able to expand it there, and now even into New York a little bit.
Yep. So I know, and then obviously you got the trout stuff and the turkey stuff, but now it's you're getting into the trap game, which I kind of find unique because us as a brand, some of my guys who are fairly new hunters, I've been very fortunate, hunted and fished my whole life for the most part. But like Ryan, I'll use him for example. He started out deer hunting and turkey hunting. That was it. He started then he trout fishing, which that works perfectly with you.
Right.
And then he started getting into the trapping game as well. So it's just kind of cool to see like you guys are kind of all going the same direction, which I find just awesome and unique and stuff. And I'm not just saying this. I've had phenomenal luck with your guys' products, 100%. Which
that's good.
Yeah, and again, we can talk about that here in a little bit. But I know when I'm gonna go back to the firefighter, the stuff. So you said 25 years, right?
Yeah, I did 25 years.
25 years.
City of New Jersey, so we were very busy over the years, really busy. And I was lucky enough to work with a lot of guys that were on from the Newark riots time, that had been in Vietnam and things of that. So there was a real good structure on the fire department when I got there, and it was a really great place to to be able to learn the job.
Yep.
And I grew up with a ton of kids in my area. A lot of them became cops.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of friends that I would go to fires and see them as cops at the job, and then I had a lot of friends that came on the job with me at the same time, and 18 of us took the test, and 17 of my friends got hired. So we all became firemen at one time. It was like, a big party, and, just great to go to a fire and see one of my close friends that I grew up with. So it was really unique. And I miss it. Listen,
I was going to ask you, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, man, I miss the firehouse life with the guys, and I like to cook. I'm Italian. I like to cook. I absolutely love to cook, and you go to firehouse, or spend time with certain guys, and you have relationships with certain guys, and they teach you things, and you teach them things. Especially when it comes to cooking, that was always a big thing in the house. Was lunch and dinner was always a big thing in the firehouse, and I miss it a lot, and I miss the fires. I miss the excitement of the fires. I miss just being active and being out there on the streets with the people. And again, I grew up in that city, so it was a great way for me to give back to the city, at the same time. And I really miss it. I do miss it. And I retired at 48. I got on at 23. I retired at 48. Sometimes you say, could I have pushed it to 53 and did my 30? I could have, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. I spend a lot more time with my kids, and I got one son that plays college football. I got one son that's in high school playing high school football and other high school sports. So I'm able to go to everything and be a real dad, which is what I did not have as a young man. So, it's definitely a special time for me.
Yep. Family comes first, 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. So did you guys do 24-hour shifts, or how'd you guys do it?
My first 12 years, we did 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 3 off. And then eventually we went to 24-hour shifts where we did 24 hours and we're off for 3 days. Gotcha.
I know that's what our local fire department does as well. So I'm assuming there was no cop versus firefighter rivalry at all over there, right?
No, everybody's
never
so
joking.
busy. We never had time for that unless it was like a friendly softball game. That would have been the only odd thing. We had a lot of work on a lot of the major highways around the New Jersey area. So there was always issues with like the state troopers shutting down roads or opening them up and things like that. But for the most part, it was always very professional, and everybody on the fire department was very professional over the years. And like I said, I reflect back on it a lot, and I appreciate everything that it did for me, because it saved a street kid. It saved me. It saved a lot of my friends. It gave us the ability to do things that we didn't think or even think that. And none of us had a burning desire to woke up one day and said, "Oh, we want to be firemen." It just happened that way, that we kind of fell into the same time when the test was coming out, and we got lucky enough to have the capacity in our mind to say, "Hey, do this." And even though we're doing other things, it was a big transition. So the day we got on, basically we went right from the street to right to the firehouses within the first, so it was a big life-changing experience at that time. And I cherish those days. I really do. And I miss them, and I miss a lot of the guys, and I keep in contact with a lot of the guys, but it's still not like the firehouse thing.
Okay. So a couple things. So the whole time you were a firefighter, did you stay in the outdoors, like being an outdoorsman, hunting, fishing, all that good stuff?
Well, one of the benefits to being a fireman was the time off. And I didn't really work part-time. I made a good salary, so I didn't need to work part-time. My wife worked for many, she works and she still works now, and she made a pretty decent salary. So basically, my days off before I had kids was hunting and fishing. That's what I did. I owned property up in New York State from 1994 for almost 20 years. And I had bought it with a good friend of mine. And when he passed away from a motorcycle accident, we had to sell it because I had just had my first son and I wasn't able to buy the family out. But I had owned property up in New York State, and we used to turkey hunt there and small game and deer hunt, and great memories up there. So a ton of trout fishing up in New York, Deposit, New York, and all these different areas up there that we had fished and done a lot of things out there. And, so accompanied with that, with all my Jersey hunting and Jersey trout fishing, it was tremendous. I had a lot of great time. And then, once my kids were born, the time was cut down. And then as they got older, they got into sports, and I was always a big football guy, so I got them right into football. And
heck yeah, that's my sport, man. I love football.
And then they gradually grew into lacrosse, so they both played lacrosse. And now my youngest son decided not to play lacrosse. He's actually playing some baseball right now, along with the football thing. And my youngest guy wants to play college football like his older brother, so that's where I'm headed.
Yep.
That's where I'm headed.
Yeah, I played 3 years just a local D3 college, so I get the college football stuff. It's fun. It's a lot different than high school. Even I was at the lowest level of college football, and it's still a big difference.
He's out of Pennsylvania, and he plays the D3 level, but they're number 20 in the country. So they're really a good program.
That's good, yeah.
And only like 45 minutes from my house. So he's able to come home on weekends when he wants to. And, if he's having a rough day or I'm in the area, because I'm always in PA, checking and filling my stores and talking to guys out there, I'll stop by and have lunch with him and things like that. So that's always a good thing that he's close by.
We played. So there was only 1 year, and they were like in the top 20. I don't even remember what college it was, but we played one of the top 20 teams in D3 football just 1 year, and they demolished us. And like, I remember thinking, like, how are we in the same division? Because they were good.
My son, he's getting done with his sophomore season. So his freshman season, the first 2 weeks he was there, he got to go to Texas.
Oh,
and their first game was in Texas against a team out in Texas, and they got their heads handed to them. They got killed. I mean, they got blown out. But he's there 2 weeks, and he had never really been on a plane before, and he ended up going to Texas within the first 2 weeks of being in college.
That's cool. And then I don't know if your son's experienced this before. I'm going on a tangent here a little bit, but like I remember we played a team once, and they had I forget what Big Ten school he went to, but they had one D1 athlete who just was a moron, couldn't keep his grades and stuff. So he failed out of the D1. Yeah. So he failed out of D1 school, and all of a sudden now he's playing in D3 football. And I remember I hit him as hard as I could, and nothing happened. He just kept running. Everybody's jumping on it. I was like, man, we are built. I know we're all human beings here. We are built differently right now.
I mean, it's something to see your kids excel.
Yeah.
And definitely in a sports manner, because I grew up, everything was sports. My whole family was sports, and whether it was hunting or fishing or football or baseball, we were always involved in something. And the whole neighborhood played sports. My whole neighborhood, and there was 100 kids within X amount of square miles that just played every sport. So we were lucky enough to have always that out at the same time. We're all athletes. So having my kids later on become athletes was kind of, I kind of pushed the direction, and they ran with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Slot receiver, he's a slot receiver, at Muhlenberg College, and my younger son's a running back. He can slot receive. He plays defense. He kind of does it all.
Sweet, awesome, man. Awesome. I'm assuming they all outdoorsmen as well. They like to hunt and fish.
Johnny fishes, and Antonio hunts.
There you go. That's funny.
One that hunts, but now the younger one is taking like 4 different bucks now, with 3 with the bow, and 1 with the shotgun. So now the older one is getting jealous, and he's like, "Oh, I think I want a bow hunt, but I got to wait till I'm out of college." So he's got a couple more years, and then once he's done with college, then hopefully he'll grab the reins, maybe the business, and start helping me out with the business and stuff like that. He's taking a business and all that, so he'll help me with that, and we'll see where it all goes in a few years.
Yep. So one more thing, kind of about the firefighting lifestyle. So I know one thing around here, what I've noticed when it comes to the first responders in the Midwest, and I'm assuming it's the same out there. That's what I'm going to ask. Is it does seem like the first responder field there is a lot of outdoorsmen. There, it just seems like we naturally attract sometimes a lot of outdoorsmen here, whether they hunt, fish, or something else. Did you feel that out there too, or is it different?
It's see when you're in a big city like that, the hunters and the fish, there's more fishermen than hunters, and a lot of them are more saltwater fishermen than maybe trout fishermen.
Yep.
I've experienced a lot of relationship with guys who trout fished or saltwater fished, but the hunting was very minimal. I had a family member, obviously, that was on the fire department at the time, so he hunted and fished with me. He grew up with me, so he was a big hunter and fisherman. And there were a few guys here and there that sporadically hunted. Later on the fire department, I had a friend of mine who asked me to help him hunt, so I taught him to hunt. So you've had those relationships. I've had some other guys.
Yep.
I used to go to the firehouses in the early 90s with all the hunter magazines and be reading them in front of everybody, and they used to go, "Oh, you hunt?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I wish I did that," or "How'd you get into that?" or all that kind of stuff. It was different. So you didn't have that amount of guys that hunted, but a lot lot that were interested. There was maybe 5% hunted, because it's mostly geared towards inner city guys. So it wasn't always a big thing. I was lucky, like I said, I was lucky enough to have a family that hunted and fished. So
no, I get that. I get that. It's just I know, which I guess did you find, and you don't have to give it like a scenario or anything, but do you find that being an outdoorsman that kind of help you de-stress sometimes or deconflict when you had? Because I know I think I'd go crazy if I couldn't go out and hunt. Like I can tell I'm just a nicer person when I can be outside, out in the woods. So I don't know if you've experienced anything like that.
For me, it was, I had inner city life, so I was used to the craziness. So it didn't, and having the experience in the Marine Corps, it didn't. I wasn't as susceptible to taking a beating on what I seen as maybe others were. Probably because of what I seen before and the city life itself. But when you want to decompress and you really want to relax, out there trout fishing or out there sitting in a tree stand was the way to do it for me. For me, it definitely was, and it was helpful when maybe we had a death or when we had some car accidents that were bad or things like that. There was definitely times where you needed to decompress, and that definitely was something that helped me. It's a fine line that we walk as firemen and police. It's a fine line, and you definitely, I think, we need that time. We need that time, like the military, like our veterans and stuff like that. They need that time. So giving back to them, or giving back to other firemen or police, is always a great thing for as brother firemen and brother cops. Definitely something for us to always to give back to those guys as much as we could, because everybody should have, I think, that hunting experience or that fishing experience, and not everybody ever does. Maybe a small countrywide, we have that experience, but when it comes to, especially from the inner city youth, they don't see that. A lot of my friends growing up didn't see that. And they used to say, "Oh, it must be just in your blood." It's just I grew up with a family that had mounts on the wall, deer mounts on the wall. Where I walked into other people's houses, there were no deer mounts on the wall. They didn't even, own a gun. We were shooting bows at 7 and 8 years old, and other kids were doing other things.
Nope. I was the same way. Like I said, I find myself just very fortunate that I was raised in the outdoor lifestyle, shooting bows and all that good stuff. So that means, you said RackGetter's been going on for about 10 years. That means you started it while you were a firefighter. What got you to start doing that?
It was a unique thing. I had made lure and I had worked for other companies before. I decided to open it, and some things went on that I probably wouldn't talk about here. And it kind of pushed me in the direction to start my own company. Because I was super knowledgeable, and I already had done things like that for a long time, and I just felt that I was new and I was more unique than other people that were out there, and I had real experience. Like I started hunting when I'm 12, so I'm 53. So I got over 40 years hunting experience in the state, trout fishing in the state, saltwater fishing in the state. And I have pictures to prove that, because from when I'm a little kid all the way up, so again, it's been nothing but a great life to have with the hunting and fishing added into just everything else that I've done. And I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for the business, for my job that I had, for my life experiences when I was younger. And it all led me up to this point. It all led me and pushed me to own my own business. I'm not skilled in business. I never went to college. I don't have any of those, so it's just been a learning experience from start to finish. And even 10 years now, I'm still learning about business and people and things and communication and store owners. And I mean, I'm in 29 different stores. So every store is unique. Every owner is unique. It's a lot of personalities to deal with. So you have to have thick skin, and you have to learn how to talk to people and speak to people the right way and approach them in different ways. And it's been unique, but at the same time, I've done a pretty decent job.
Yeah, you posted, I don't know when it was, but I remember you posted like just your bottles, like from when you first started to your bottles now. Even like, I mean, your presentation alone has went way more than what it was. Like it looks like I used to work at a general like sporting goods store when I was in high school and college getting by. So I dealt with a lot of different scent companies sitting stocking the shelves and stuff, and presentation's a big deal. And I will say, like, and I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast, but like your stuff pops. It looks good, and like and the bottle doesn't seem like it's cheaply made. It works well. I haven't had any issues with any of the bottles. Like I thoroughly enjoy using the product and stuff.
Well, look, I've been, my mother was really artsy. My aunt was really artsy. So I got some of that. So, you realize color, a logo makes a big difference. A really good logo that attracts the eye. And, that's all marketing. And I have no marketing experience, but I just have an artsy type mom and aunt. And, that I guess that kind of rubbed off on me. So I was able to put the logo together with the name. It took me a while to figure out the name. The original bottles that you see at that time, there was 3 owners.
Okay.
There was my cousin, a good friend of mine, and myself. And then they just decided that they didn't want to do it. And, I understand that. And they just helped me, from that point on, help promote and be a part of, and even help me run the pages to some extent. But all the ideas after those original bottles, the RackGetter logo, the RackGetter name, the colors that I use, the way I set everything up, that all comes from me. And I don't have any formal experience in anything like that. That just comes out of me. That's just something that I have, and I was able to look at other companies' bottles and then put mine next to it and go, it's night and day. It's night and day. So when a guy walks in, it's going to naturally attract him to the product. But here's the deal. You can have all the great labels and all the cool bottles and all the bells and the whistles, but if the product don't work, eventually people will catch on. And my product works, and they all work, and they all work pretty good. So for me, it's like, hey, I kind of have everything here, and I realized that early on in the business. So I gradually just said, okay, well, what else do I want to do besides urine-based lures? I want to get into attractants. I want to get into cover scents. I know I want to make a deer feed. The mineral I wasn't going to do. And things went on in the state, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this too. So I decided to just get into everything. And then having the years of experience before, growing up in the hunting, around hunting, and 12 and 13 and 14, there were no game cameras. We were using a string. That was, deer was hitting it at 735. Okay, you knew to be 735. You didn't know what was passing, but you just so. I've been able to watch the whole transition of bow hunting. From when you went from just about stick bows to compounds and then beyond. And there was a lot of products being made. I mean, all types of products that guys didn't know what to make next or try to invent or try to, sell. And I was one of those kids at a teenage years on up that bought everything. I bought everything, whatever you could buy. You're messing with apple scents and this and different things. So now, years later, a lot of these products have gone to the wayside. People haven't used them in years. So now I'm thinking about those products and I'm going, oh, I used something like that years ago. I'm going to improve on that 30, 35 years later. Even the drip bags. The drip bags came from a product that I had used probably when I was 15. And then I said to myself, oh, maybe I should try this. And again, finding the right bag, and then finding what you wanted to put in the bag, and then how to market it and how to approach selling it. I mean, every single product is different.
Yep.
So, I came out with those bags, and you got to fill them with water, and then you shake them up, and you got people like to interact with a product. They like to interact. You're making mock scrapes. You're interacting with the product. You're doing A, you're doing B, and you're doing your pre-orbital, and you're interacting with the product. Guys like stuff like that.
Yep.
And they especially like stuff that lasts a long time. So like even the drip bags, they last 6 to 8 months. You throw $20 out, it lasts 6 to 8 months. It's a great $20 spent. You know, it's going to last you 6 to 8 months. Nobody makes stuff that lasts 6 to 8 months anymore.
No. Yeah.
So things like that is all comes from me, but it all comes again from things that I've seen many, many years ago. That's why I'm very innovative, because I'm using things that I've seen, or maybe things that I've seen in other areas. Maybe not even been the hunting. Maybe it was in, my mother being artsy and my aunt being artsy in certain things, and I use some of those things. So that's kind of where I get a lot of the ideas from, is things I've seen in the past, and then just adding my own twist to them.
Yep. I know I used your scrape rope last year, and like just the packaging, like you have you thought of everything. You got a glove in there all ready to go and everything. So you just take the bag out with your woods, boom, set it up. And listen, I got trail cam pictures and videos to prove it. The deer were hitting it all season long. I should have killed a buck, but that was nothing to do with the rope. That was all on me. But the camera, camera saved that one.
The video that you sent me to rope was fantastic. And again, I just wanted to improve what was already out there. Guys were already using ropes. I was kind of against. I was not that I was against using it, but I was against making it, because for me in the beginning it was like, these things it's just a rope. Yeah. So how can I look at it and then improve on it and make something worthwhile, where a guy looks at it, he's like, this is really cool. It's not gimmicky because it works.
Correct.
And if it didn't work, then it's a gimmick, but it's not a gimmick because it works. And I have so many videos of yourself sending me and other guys pictures and videos of how good it did work. It didn't probably work the 100% the way I was hoping for it, because I put the balls on for two kind of reasons. One, to help keep it down so that the weight stayed it down. But I wanted them to interact with the product a little bit more, and they didn't interact with the balls as much as I was hoping for, but they did interact with the rope. So now I've already improved on what I had done last year with the rope, and there's a new version of that coming out that I'll probably, guys will I won't promote it as a different product. I'm going to promote it as the same product, but just as an improvement. So when a guy opens it up, he'll go, oh, this is different than last year,
Yep, I already know. Me and a couple guys on the team are all like, we're going to be ordering more for next year to put in some new spots. I know, So I know you guys just came out with the scrape dirt too, right? I think I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah, and again,
we're going to talk about that a little bit.
It's another product that came from a product many, many years ago. That was out many, many years ago. The company's still around, but they don't make it anymore. So I just kind of, again, by adding like the mock scrape gels into it, that was me. And then, promoting this in a way that you can sell it and it actually makes sense, because it holds the urine or the synthetic on top of the mock scrape, where you're getting maximum dispersal. It's not being just sprayed around and then drying, or it's not being sprayed on the ground and then just eventually it being absorbed into the ground. It's keeping it up 3-4 inches, maybe 2-3 inches, whatever it is, off the ground, and that helps with dispersal. So it's unique because it's already pre-mixed with the gel, so you don't need the actual liquid or the spray to activate it. It's already activated once you put it out, but helping it come around by using the spray or just pouring some of it out helps it even more. And it's a great way to reactivate it if you get a rain or something like that. But once you get a deer in there and he urinates in it, you can't, it's going to absorb a lot of it, and now it's going to hold his or the doe's urine on top of the ground. So now you got really the best of both worlds. So again, this is just another product that I added on to something that I've used probably when I was 16 and 17 and 18 and 19 years old. Something I used to roll through the magazines and see, and I bought, and then I liked it. And now years later, I own a scent company, and I'm using everything that I remember from years ago, and I'm just kind of adding my own twists onto things.
I
And
got
it's
you. I got you.
innovation. I have a manufacturer's license, so I'm a manufacturer of things, and that's what I do. So I'm trying to make better products every single year for hunters, and I use them. You know, these are things that I've used in the past that I'm creating a different way to use them now, but at the same time, they're still kind of from back then. And I find that that's always the best stuff. It's the stuff that came from back then, and if you can improve on it, you really got a good product. So I'm hoping guys will check this product out because it's really unique. That the scrape dirt is really unique. I think guys will really like it.
I know. I plan on buying some, trying before deer season. I know, like one thing. This is kind of the inner dialogue of us as a team. You know, once we started talking to you, and I knew we were getting products coming from you. I know one inner dialogue that we had talked about was like, man, we hope your stuff works because we hadn't tried it yet. You know, this was what 2 years ago now, and you know, and we're like, especially talking to the phone, like, man, he seems like a really cool guy. Everything you're saying sounds good. We're like, man, we hope this works. Well, there's a reason why we're still using your stuff because right away we had results. Actually, this year, and this is on me. So we had a windstorm come through and kind of knock some trees down in one of my blind spots and one of my tree stands. And there's always this big community scrape. Well, I always go in there with your stuff, freshen up that community scrape, and I get more trail cam action. Well, because this tree fell, I kind of got turned around a little bit, and I made a mock scrape because I'm like, I can't find this community scrape, or maybe they just aren't hitting it anymore. Or I made this big mock scrape with your product. Didn't hunt it then. I came back 2 weeks later. It was like, I think it was October. I think it was Halloween morning, and when I come to the stand, I'm like, oh man, I see that community scrape now. I should have moved that mock scrape. Actually, where I put it at, I did not have a shooting lane. I'm like, well, it cost me. Sure enough. So I see this good deer coming, and he's got to make a decision. He's got to either go left to the mock scrape, or he's got to go right to the fresh community scrape. Sure enough, he went right to the mock scrape that I made with your product, and I never did get a shot. So that was on me.
That's why we do it. I mean, it's fun, and I love messing around with mock scrapes. I'm not one that uses them in the summertime or late. I like to wait about a week before the season before I start putting them in there. I don't like to mess around by their bedding areas or anything else until later on in the season. I'll get closer to them, but early in the season, like a week before the season starts, that's when I'll go out to 2 or 3 of my spots and I'll put them out. I don't like to put mock scrapes for the states they're allowed to bait. I don't put mock scrapes by bait stations or by bait sites. They don't work that way. They don't work that well. They work well outside of them, but not directly in them. And I've done extensive, testing, whether it be with the ropes in those areas or with mock scrapes in those areas. And what's gone on is whatever we do to animals, they have a reaction. So if you're in a state that baits and you bait throughout the year or you bait through the hunting season, bucks pick up on this. So they'll just the bait sites, later on at night, you get a lot of pictures, and then they're not there in the morning and stuff like that. And as we get into October or mid-October, a lot of scent is by those scrapes, is by those bait stations. So a buck tends to now use that bait station as a mock scrape because what's there? There's scent from all the deer in the area, especially does, all around there. They'll come up to it, check it, take a good whiff, a couple of whiffs, and then depart, and then off to the next one. We had one bait station out in one area, 200 yards away. We had another. Buck came in, checked it on camera, walked 200 yards to the other one within 10 minutes, and checked that one, and then went on his way. And they're not hitting any scrapes in those areas, not hitting any ropes in those areas. They're basically using the bait stations as mock scrapes.
Okay. Yep.
Gotcha. Pretty unique.
Yep. So, question for you. So, I guess, is there any other deer products you want to talk about before we move on a little bit? Whether it's some of your old stuff or you got anything new you want to drop?
Deer Mineral is where we are. Whether you're buying my products or other products, there's products in every state. A lot of companies make great products. I would say Deer Mineral is where we are right now for if you're into the deer stuff. It's Deer Mineral, salt licks, drip bags, things of that nature. That's where we are. High protein diet. Fawns are getting ready to be born soon. We want to have high protein for them, and we definitely want to hit them, hit the does and everything with a good salt and mineral and all that kind of stuff, and get that in their systems. That's where we are. If you're buying it from me, hey, great. You order in or you're buying it from one of my stores. It's a great time to get it out there. Other than that, I'm hunting I'm hunting hard now for turkeys,
Mm-hmm.
and we can only hunt to 12 o'clock in Jersey. It is what it is. And then I'm trout fishing. I was out trout fishing from 5 to about 7:30 tonight. I caught 25. I caught a nice 3-pound rainbow. So I love trout fishing. It's definitely been something that I've been doing since I'm a little kid. I'll probably never stop that. It's like deer hunting. Those are my two things.
Yeah, I've just dabbled a little bit in trout fishing. When we went out west to Colorado to go elk hunting, we found a stream with some trout in it and caught some rainbows. It was fun. But so I kind of go off of that. So you make turkey calls, and then obviously you make some trout lures.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you started out with deer scents, is what you started.
That's the backbone of the business and the backbone of the way I started out. As a little kid, as being 12 and 13 and 14 years old, my grandfather made some stuff, and he made some lures, and we used to buy tanks, and he'd get pissed off. What are you using that garbage? Whatever, all that kind of stuff. And it was crazy back then. So it's always been something that I've just been crazy about was deer lure, and I had an early reaction to tinks when I was like 13. I put out a little 35 millimeter canister, stuck it in between with a couple cotton balls, and I had like a little 6-pointer run right up to it. And from that point on, it was like I don't go in the woods without deer lure, and I've just been stuck on it since then. And it's always been something that I like to do. So years later, when I decided to open up this company, obviously that's what started it all. And I started out with 2 products, and I couldn't even count where I'm at now. It's
a lot more than that.
50. It's definitely over 50.
So I guess in your 10 years as a business, when did you start making the turkey calls and the trout lures?
The trout stuff is relatively new. They're like the spinners are 2 years now, and trout baits are 3 years. The turkey calls has been 6 years. I had a partner a while back that didn't work out. Things don't work out business-wise sometimes. And then, he went and did his thing, and I just kept doing my thing. And I learned how to basically make the mouth calls myself. YouTube instruction, friends and that I knew that made them, hey, give me some pointers and what latex to buy, how to do this cut, how to do that, what tools that you needed to do it. And really, I just sit there, throw the TV on, and just make a bunch of them. And I enjoyed it. It's not the backbone of the business. I like making them. I don't sell a lot of them. The guys that do use them, they have a lot of success with them, and they're good. It's just, I'm not a call company, so I'm not always referred to as, for calls.
Yeah, I know.
That's just the way it is.
I know, and you were working with him, and then it's funny. You were working with him. Now he's with us. John Martini from.
He's great.
John's a great guy.
Absolutely.
But I think, I believe he has one of your calls, and he's had success with it. So I'm not a big turkey mouth call, mainly because I can't use one to save my life. I don't know.
That reflex kicks in.
Yep, gets me every time. But I know he said he had good luck with it and stuff. So then one thing I want to kind of talk about here for my own selfish reasons, I'm a big bear hunter. I do a lot of bear hunting. I don't get to go every year, but this will be my 4th time going to Ontario. And then I've been to Quebec once as well. But I love your bear stuff. Absolutely love it. Last year we had really good success with it. And I was using Bear X. I was using some of your vanilla, like syrup stuff, and then
you got that again.
That's
again.
Sweet. Yep.
Glazed donut.
Glazed. I have to, as a cop, I have to go with the donut one. As soon as I see that, I'm like, I got to go with it. I got to go with it.
That's great. But I threw in an extra one in there. I threw in an Oreo cookie for you.
So sweet. There we go.
Yeah, so you're getting an extra one in there. I definitely added that. And speaking of Oreo cookie, that'll be available for the Winsent. For my Winsent tanks will be this year. We'll have Oreo cookie for one of the tanks now be available for my first bear product, and then next year I'll deal with the cop donut stuff.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So I guess when did you start making the Bear Getter products?
Well, it once you own a scent company, you have to expand. So, you start all the deer lures and you make sure you got everything that you need. And then before you know it, I was making gels and pastes and whatever else, went with that, and scented polymer balls and the cover scents and all that. And, we had a bear season. So I'm like, I got a ton of guys asking, do you make bear stuff? I'm like, I can. Well, why don't you? So there you go. Another whole line of products started, and that really went well. And then I got into making like a bear bait. So then I started scenting bear bait. So now I'm making a bear bait and I'm scenting it, blueberry, anise, whatever may fit the hunter, in a variety of different flavors, cotton candy scented, whatever it may be. And, I found that it worked really good. And the Oreo cookie took off the first year I made it. I mean, I was selling gallons of it to guys. And then, I just really started getting the bear line really, really kicking in. And then they stopped the bear hunt. So it was like, for 3 years, it was like, 20% of my business, poof, and just that quick. I don't think sometimes that this state thinks of what they're doing or how it's hurting, the people who sell products and the small sports stores, because the sports stores were selling bear stuff, now they can't. So you lost the way of income, and that hurts. That definitely. But they finally come to their senses. They open it back up. They had a really successful one last year. Hopefully, we'll have a successful one this year. I think what we're missing here in Jersey, and a lot of guys probably agree with me, is we're missing a spring bear hunt. Without the deer hunters in September and October, because some of the nuisance bears are already be gone. And you'll have a good contingency of guys that would be happy to go out and take some bears out before they go and deer hunt. There's some areas like up in Sussex County and Warren County that are infested with them. And, they need to go. So if they ever did implement that, obviously that would be a great way for me to get those products out in those stores for bear season in the spring. But until then, I'm happy that they have a bear season. We're in New Jersey, so you gotta understand.
Yep. No, I get that. I know I've only hunted bears in the spring. I guess I take that back. When I went elk hunting twice, I always pick up a bear tag. It's like an extra $100. But that's spot and stock style, not over bait. But yeah, I know. We really had good luck with your product last year. So I had a lot of I had the blueberry polymers, and I had day one. I threw all of them out, get that, so they start soaking in. And I ended up I killed the biggest bear out of our immediate group. My dad actually had killed a bigger bear before I got there, which he was using. I bought that gallon of that blueberry.
Right.
Yeah, and then he was using that, and we still have some of that. We just had really good luck with the product. And I love bear hunting. Like I can't get enough of it.
Listen, there's some guys that it's just that they love it, and that's whitetails. I'm just crazy about it. Like I'm not the biggest bear hunter because I don't have a hunting property that has bears. So it's tough for me because I just don't have that opportunity. But at the same time, I still make really good stuff for bears, and they really work. And I make some other things that are off the cuff, like beaver castor, which is a great way, especially in your northern states, especially in Canada. The beaver castor goes a long way, and they love that stuff. But I've had a lot of success with that, and that's definitely something that I've expanded on, and I'm probably beyond expanded at this point with it. There's not much more area to go, but I got a lot of guys that ask me, can you make a bear drip bag? And I'm like, yeah, but they're going to climb and take it down, and it's just not going to be something that I would want to sell because they're just going to disappear.
I was actually thinking about that. I was looking at your drip bags, and I was like, yeah, I can see where it would work, but it would work almost too well. Like, bear will get up there and get it.
I had a gentleman ask me, online the other day if I make one for hogs. Now the hogs will work really good because it's the drip formation, and they're not climbing no trees. And
correct.
That. So that is something that I'm probably gonna definitely dabble in over the next couple of months and put out something for hogs. It's definitely something that I'm going to be designed for hogs. I got some friends in the South that have hog problems. They're like, just send me whatever, we'll test it out. So I'm gonna send them a bunch of stuff and definitely get into the hog stuff. But I had a good friend of mine, Lester. He's back to fishing on Instagram. He contacted me early last season. He was like, listen, I wanted to get into trap. And I'm like, so do I. So we went and did the classes and everything that we had to do. And, he bought all the stuff, and I was making all the stuff. And we went through a whole season. We trapped 5 fox. We trapped 5 raccoon, 5 opossum, took 2 coyotes out of there. And hopefully that'll make a dent and help our turkey population and our fawn population over the next few months. So that's one of the things that we've done. We've had some issues with coyotes. It's been bad. It's been bad. So a couple years ago, I shot 2 with the shotgun, and then trapping a couple. I think we're starting to get ahead of it, and hopefully it'll help us out with the fawn drop and the turkeys.
Us as a brand, we just started getting kind of in the trapping game. I've trapped a couple years now. My buddy Ryan, the Redco, he's trapped, and then we actually just started getting to thermals a little bit, which has been kind of fun and nuts and crazy. But yeah, man, we have the same issue with coyotes out here. I got a whole bunch of chickens out in my yard.
Oh yeah,
And,
you're gonna have them.
Oh yeah, I killed one. I work third shift. Actually, I'll go to work here in about 2-3 hours. And I was working third shift. Come home. My wife is getting the kids, taking them to school. I take a shower, come out. I'm only in my underwear. I look out. And I'm like, what is in my yard? And my cat is like, I open the door and the cat comes running in. My cat never does that. I'm like, what is going on? I kind of look. I'm like, oh, that's a damn coyote. Well, so I run and grab my gun and end up shooting it right in the yard, which I live out in the country, so no big deal. But yeah, and I know I had some chickens that had been getting picked off every couple of days. I knew it had to be him. So, but it's kind of nuts. Well, I said I've taken up 45 minutes of your time so far. Is there anything else when it comes to rat getters you want to talk about, promote, anything like that? Because I just can't say enough. I really love you guys' product.
I'm just a down-to-earth guy. I'm not anyone special. I just got into this not knowing it would be a great, a good experience or how long it would last or whatever really would happen. I'm an honest guy. I make great products. Like I said, I'm a retired fireman, and I'm just giving the people the best that I can. I mean, there's nothing more to say. I hope people see this and got my products. They're honest products. They work. They've been proven to work. I got 10 years under my belt. I wouldn't be in business this long if they didn't work. I do a lot of different things for guys. If a guy calls me up on the phone, he wants something special made. Hey, I do my best to make things like that. I always do that. And everybody's important, from the dumbest question to the, biggest question I can answer, or, I'm really friendly, and I like interacting with hunters. People are on your same wavelength, and there's a lot to talk about. Always, I'll go to a wedding and run into someone that hunts. It's like I'm with that guy the whole night, having a drink, talking about hunting experiences, showing pictures on your phone. It just turns into that. So, no matter really where we are, hunters find hunters. Drinkers find drinkers, et cetera, et cetera. Cops find other guys. It's just a fun thing, and I've had nothing but a great experience with everything, and I'm still pushing here. I'll probably be doing this for hopefully another 10 years longer, and but I'm going to keep trying my hardest to come out with really good products, and I have a lot of things that I have written down that I'm going to get to help change the game, because I've been doing that, and I've been pushing hard to make different things that work, and I've already seen people copying things I've done, whether it be the drip bags, where that's already starting to be copied. I started, putting the turkey calls in this, those little cylinder things, and now those are starting to be replicated.
You were the first company I saw with that.
A little company this big, there's a lot of companies that are looking at me and going, "Oh, let's do that. Oh, we could do that." So I may be trend setting and I may be small, but I'm still doing my thing, and I do see that people are following what I do. So I'm not, blowing smoke up my own ass. I make some good products, and it is what it is. I just hope everybody has a great season, a healthy season, gets out there, uses some great products, and everybody kills some big deer, and everybody has a great time eating it.
Yep. No, and again, I can't, like I said, I'm not just saying this. We're a team of 15 guys as of right now. Almost everybody on my team, and then some, have used your guys' products, whether it's the bear stuff or mainly the deer items. And we've had success, we've had luck, and I can't say it enough, guys. Again, appreciate you taking a chance on us back a couple of years ago.
Hey, listen, I'm happy. Everything's been great. I love you guys. You guys have been awesome to me too. It's not. It's definitely a 50-50. It's not the anything other than that. You guys. Just doing this with me, it's really appreciative. Thank you, because it's a way for me to help, people get to know who I am as a person, not just see a logo. I'm the guy behind everything, and I make everything myself, and my kids and my family help me. Some friends help me go through, but this is a small business, and at the same time, it's still a good business, and I hope everybody enjoys everything that I'm doing.
Yep. Again, thank you. If you just want to stay on when I end this recording for a minute or two. But guys, this is podcast 82. Pleasure as always. Hope you guys like this content we're doing. We're doing very well with the podcast. Make sure you keep checking it out. I'm gonna have hopefully some really good video with RackGetter's bear stuff coming up here, coming up in a month or two. A month I will be back with hopefully some good video. So make sure you guys like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on social media, follow RackGetters on social media. Again, we appreciate all the support, guys. And that'll end this podcast. Be safe out there.
Take care.